I guess, a conflict going on in workplaces around the country between Generation Z and the baby boomers. Baby boomers more traditional in how they run a workplace.
Right.
Gen Z is looking to work from home and do remote work and have,
freedom.
Freedom. They want a little bit more quality of life type thing.
Yeah.
Joel Patterson joins us. He is a workplace expert. You'll find him at joelpatterson.com. Hello, Joel.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Very well. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. Is this this generational divide, is this something that can be overcome, or is this something that's going to drive somebody out of the workforce?
Well, it's not that surprising, right? I mean, when was the last time you heard somebody complain about a different generation than they are? And I don't think this is all that much different. What really got this going was somebody that posted something on TikTok saying that, hey, I'm kind of tired of corporate jargon, and if I need an extra mental health day, then so be it. The reality is, who doesn't want that, right? We all agree with it. It's just trying to get the other generations to understand where maybe they have to make some steps in management or leadership in order to get there. But the reality is we all want to figure out what the right way to do this is moving forward, whether that's work from home, whether it's how we have acronyms. That's one of the things they're complaining about. But really the reality is, hey, it's okay to be vulnerable. Let's just talk through this stuff together, figure out what we need to do, and recognize that we all have to find a way to make this work.
It seems like whenever you have a generational divide, neither side can listen to the other side or understand where the other side's coming from. I guess that comes back from the days when you couldn't figure out your parents and they couldn't figure out you, even though they were you at one point in their life. But you get into the workplace and baby boomers have done things a certain way. Well, in my day, we didn't have mental health days and et cetera, et cetera. And younger people say, well, it ain't your day anymore.
And it's true, right? I mean, the reality is, in order for us to progress, we have to change. And so change is hard for everybody, including the boomers and the Gen Zs. I mean, it's a matter of us finding a way where, some of the newer ideas are going to take hold. And let's embrace those, because that is what's going to allow us to move forward. But it's also important for Gen Z to look and say, hey, maybe those guys have learned a little something. Maybe they do understand that it's more difficult than we realize in certain aspects of business because they've been doing it for decades. It's really just trying to bridge that divide that's existed from day one of humanity, where we may think we know better than somebody else. But really, it's just a matter of us finding a way to work together on these things.
Yeah, it's always been a frustration. My parents turned out to always be right about everything. You never could have convinced me of that when I was a kid, though. But yeah, the older generation does have some experience that the younger generation does not. However, it doesn't mean the younger generation doesn't have good ideas that could be implemented.
Joel Patterson is with us, joelpatterson.com, a workplace expert. A couple of things. I'm a boomer, and so you got to be real careful as a boomer when you talk to younger people, 25 years old or around that age 30, because you don't want to say in my day, because you don't want to kill their spirit, because they think what's going on right now is great, And I bring that up because does Gen Z, millennials, do they have a hard time listening to people that have experience, that have history? Do they try to learn from that?
I think it's the same argument. I think that they look at it the same way that we look at it for our parents. And, do they really know what they're talking about? But I think that they're open. And the Gen Zs that I work with, they're just as open to learn new things as people of our generation. It's just that they're going about it a different way, and they also talk about things that we wouldn't necessarily talk about, like what time their yoga appointment is. I mean, they throw it all out there, and sometimes it makes us a little uneasy. But the reality is, if you just focus on employee engagement with these people, no matter what generation they are, and really get them engaged in your culture, the things that matter in being able to execute on their job and have relationships, they'll get through that just fine.
So is it okay to walk up in today's climate? This is what we're talking about, in today's atmosphere, the way we do this. Okay to call your boss or walk up to him in the office and say, listen, I need a mental health day. I'll see you in a couple of days. And is that boss supposed to... Is that boss supposed to say, hey, okay. Boss. Yeah. Depends on the boss.
Yeah, right. If you need it, then I think that most people are going to say, if you really need that day, take the day. Now, if you're one of those people that has one of those days every week, maybe that's not going to work out quite so well for you.
It seems like with the pandemic that there have been a lot of changes in the workplace. What do you see an office looking like 10 years from now, 15 years from now, as the transition goes from boomers to the next generation?
Well, there's no doubt it's changed, right? I think we can all agree that there's going to be some sort of, whether you want to call it a hybrid or mix, depending on the type of job that you have. but really recognizing what it's going to look like. I think it's going to look pretty similar to what it looks like now. We're going to have some people that are going to come in all the time because they enjoy that interaction. There's going to be other people that rarely come in at all because they prefer to work in more of a cube. And we've got to find ways to get people to interact in those situations, because we do know that as we've gotten further from the pandemic, people are less engaged. Productivity's remained high, but how do you make sure that they understand what you're trying to do as an organization and make sure they're supporting those goals?
Joel Patterson, you'll find him at joelpatterson.com. He's a workplace expert. Joel, thanks so much for coming on WBAP. We appreciate it.
Anytime. Thanks, guys.